Hey, hi. Welcome to Ward 13. And, I have Mr. Baseball on today, but we'll talk some baseball. We have a weirdo might be calling in later to talk about the Academy Award nominations. And Glenn R.J. Ouellette might join us later. You know, he's a big baseball fan.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But, Now, Mr. Baseball, you have some fascinating breaking information about the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What you want to share with
just learned of it just moments ago, literally. Going into the Hall of Fame this year in this class is Edgar Martinez, his 10th and final year of eligibility.
One of the great designated hitters, the first
Two-time
probably.
batting champion, 5-time Silver Slugger Award.
And the
winner.
DH award is named after him.
Right, it is now. And Roy Halladay, unfortunately, won't be here to accept it, but good for his family. That was an untimely death if there ever was one. But he won Cy Young in both leagues, 200 victories. Mike Mussina, that surprised me.
Well, he was always had a lot of support from the writers.
He was always in and around. He only won 20 games in his final season.
He won 266 games altogether, right?
I think so.
And he was a stalwart on those Yankees teams.
Oh, yeah, he was consistent.
That puts him in the Hall of Fame.
And for the first time in the history of baseball,
One of probably the greatest reliever in the history of baseball was elected, but I was surprised because
100%.
Right, I remember when Willie Mays didn't get 100%.
Nobody did.
Aaron didn't. Ted Williams didn't.
No.
Nobody's ever got. Somebody always leaves them up. Yastrzemski didn't. Johnny Bench didn't.
They
Have the 98 and the 99%.
They said Jeter will be the first. Well, he won't be the first now, even if he does get 100%. But I can see Rivera getting it on all ballots.
Yeah, because
662
Frank
saves.
Robinson didn't get 100%.
No.
There was always some cantankerous so-and-so that had to leave him off.
Right.
Or a couple. I'm
Yeah.
surprised there wasn't some cantankerous so-and-so that did leave him off.
I know. That surprised me, too.
He was the best of that class of reliever because, the reliever, of course, changed over the years. Goose Gossage was a great reliever, but that was a different 3 innings, 4 innings, 5 innings.
Dick Raditz, same thing.
No, but Dick Raditz wasn't Goose Gossage.
Well, I know he wasn't. Gossage wasn't Raditz. Raditz would go in 4 innings, and he pitched threw over 100 strikeouts many times.
Yeah, but he didn't last like Goose did.
No, he
The
didn't.
2 first great, who is really the first reliever to get in is Hoyt Wilhelm, if you would consider him a reliever.
Yeah, he did both, but mostly relieving.
Yeah, but he had a no-hitter, too. He had about 211 victories, I think.
Yeah.
But he was considered a reliever when he got in. But see, that was a different type of thing.
Yeah.
Goose Gossage and Bruce Sutter were the first 2 great modern relievers, I think.
Sutter was great.
Yeah, because they each got 300 saves. Mm-hmm. And they were just before the 1 inning. Well, Sutter's more towards the 1 inning. He's like part of the evolution towards that. But it was really Tommy Lasorda. What was I bringing him up for? It was your pal, Billy Martin, that created the 1 inning reliever.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
the hold, a guy like Ron Davis to hold.
Yeah.
Then he'd have Goose for 1 inning, which
Yeah.
was a lot better when Goose had to do 3 or 4 innings in '78.
And he had Lyle and Gossage on the same team at one time.
Yeah, but he didn't really use Lyle that much.
Well, no, but Lyle pitched well.
Lyle was a Cy Young winner in '77, left-handed though.
Yeah.
But then they pick up the best reliever.
Did they get Lyle for Danny Cater?
You are a real SOB, aren't you? Have to low blow because here we have the world championship Red Sox, and you have to bring in like the world's worst trade ever.
No, that wasn't.
Yes, Danny Cater was traded for Sparky Lyle, who went on to save over 200 games and won a Cy Young Award in '77. And then your great hero, George Steinbrenner, undercut him. That was a great book, though, the Bronx Zoo.
Yeah, it
You know,
was.
you read it now, and you're like, I'm in my 50s. It's, geez, all these guys are doing is whining. And now, you know, like my father and people saying they're whining. I'm only getting paid $133,000.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you know. I want 200. Geez, what would they get nowadays?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, you know.
Speaking of Wilhelm, he homered his very first major league at bat and never homered again.
Oh. Can you say that about anybody else?
No, I can't. Off the top of my head, I couldn't.
Well, it seems like, you know, since you're not into football and the Honorable Joel Elber's still missing, if Inspector Elber's finally got his badge so he can go look for Joel. But, yeah, we got it in the mail the other day.
Oh.
Got to get somebody to pin it on him, though.
Yeah.
I wonder if Nick Willard's around. But he's the U.S. Marshal now. He used to be on the morning show a lot with Joel. He used to. He asked Peter once, "Is that an act?" Oh yeah.
Where are you, Joel?
I don't know. That's why we're hiring Inspector Elber
Yeah.
to go find him. But if only Inspector Elber, I mean Joel was here now, he'd explain to us how Tom Brady is not the greatest quarterback in history, but Y.A. Tittle. Well, Joe Namath, and then maybe Y.A. Tittle. Y.A. Tittle. Joel, if you're out there, call in.
Namath had one season. That was, what, 69 Super Bowl?
Was it 69 or was it January of 70? It was the 69 season.
I don't know.
That was the first Super Bowl that was called the Super Bowl. Super Bowl III. The first two weren't.
No?
No.
I remember the first two were Lombardi's Packers. And
When I was a kid, that was the great team, the Packers and
Yeah.
Vince Lombardi. And also, who were the Purple People Eaters? Was that Minnesota? What team was Paul Hornung on?
Paul
Hey,
Hornung
Gary
was on the
Hamer, if you're
Packers.
on the...
He was on the Packers.
Oh, so Paul Hornung was on the Packers.
Yeah.
Because my friend Gary, his wife, the Honorable Heidi Hamer, was a state rep. Her sister's named after Paul Hornung, Paula.
Oh, really?
Well,
Paula
I guess their name was Hornung. So,
Ah.
how many people do you know name their kids after sports stars, particularly female children? Although, you know, I guess that doesn't exist now. You know, in the new world we live in.
I don't know. I found out yesterday that Jackie Robinson was named after President Teddy Roosevelt.
Well, how is that?
His name is Jackie Roosevelt Robinson, and it was a thing on TV last night. One died the same year the other was born, in 1919 or something.
That's right. Teddy Roosevelt died in 1919. He was only like 59 years old.
Was he that young?
Yes, he was only that old.
The Rough Riders.
He was very pro Negro, as they were called then. You know, as Republicans were back then.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, good for him. He was not a racist then.
Well, you know, everything's
In that
everything's relative. You know what I mean?
In that era.
It was Woodrow Wilson, the progressive, that when he was a gentleman from Virginia, in his progressive history of the United States, because you know he was a professor at Princeton and the president of the university. He's one of the people that popularized the conception of the War of the Rebellion as a civil war, and you know the South they're fighting for states' rights and all that.
Yeah.
When he became president, he kicked all the African American office holders, as many as he could, out of office.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, you know. Those I'd like to say those were different times, but
Yeah.
not necessarily true.
Yeah.
But
What's happening with Machado and our Washington?
I don't know. You're Mr. Baseball,
Well, they're not signed yet
and why's that?
because they're holding out for this big package.
Or why aren't these teams coming up with big bucks?
I don't know. They will. Somebody will. And I don't know what's going on with the Yankees and Machado, but when the Yankees signed that pitcher Echeverria the other day, gave him a good contract, I thought some of the money that they were saving has gone. But that was just
How good a
dropping the
pitcher is he?
Oh, he's one of these that had a good year, got hurt. You know, someone like Chad OJ, a couple of those other bombs the Yankees bought, signed free agent, died with him.
How much? What chance do you think the Yankees have? What do they need?
Pitching. And
Pitching. Everybody needs pitching.
They just traded Sonny Gray today to the Cincinnati Reds.
For what?
Minor leaguer and some others.
Gross of jockstraps.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Danny Cater.
I don't understand a lot of those trades. I really don't. But I guess Cashman knows what he's doing.
Does he? How many World Series victories does he have?
Well, Cashman.
Does he go back to the time of Joe Torre's reign?
Yeah.
He's been there that long?
Yeah.
Geez, what's going on outside? Is that Glenn R. Jolette?
I don't know who it is.
We should invite them in.
Yeah.
Spice up our conversations.
Yeah. So,
If it's anybody there, send them in. We're an equal opportunity show.
yeah.
Jeez, did you watch the AFC title game?
No,
Why not?
I just don't like football.
And you missed a great game.
Well, it's great if you like it. I don't watch marbles, but I played it as a kid.
How can you say such a thing?
I don't know. I just don't like pro football. It's a game of mistakes to me. Fumbles, hankies on the field, offsides, backfield in motion. Just
Interceptions.
Bad
Calls like in the NFC game.
Yeah, and bad calls.
But that's part of the game.
Yes, it is.
Jeez,
It's going to happen in every sport.
Yeah, and they don't. They tried to professionalize their
Yeah.
referees. I don't know how well they've done.
I don't know either, but I've watched. I forced myself to watch an NBA game the other night.
Forced yourself.
I forced myself.
You were never a Lakers fan.
No. I was more of a Celtics fan when I lived out there in L.A.
Back in the 60s, they were a dynasty.
I liked the Parrish and
Oh, that crew.
that crew and
If only Larry Bird hadn't
Bird.
been snorting all that cocaine before that
McHale.
game. Well, you know.
McHale.
Oh, yeah. And then Jack Nicholson mooned the garden during one.
Did he do that?
That's what they say. I wasn't there. It sounds like Jack, although I've never met
He
him.
was at the Laker games all the time. He had season tickets.
His nickname in Hollywood is the Irishman, and it's not a compliment.
No?
No, outside of Boston, Irish that means many things, usually negative. Meant he was a drunk and a gambler, and I'll use the word womanizer except instead of another word used for him that begins with a W.
One year the Lakers won. They had a bar set up on Sunset Boulevard for them exclusively. It was a high-end place, and Nicholson went and was the bartender for the night. So he liked to rub elbows with the Lakers, and that was his game. He loved it. I couldn't watch it. I fell asleep in the last game I ever went to.
That's crazy because you had the great Lakers teams out there.
Yeah, but it was always
In L.A., the Lakers are huge.
when it's
When I was there during the last championship game they had, it'd be like the Red Sox here.
when it's down to the final 3 or 4 minutes. That's supposed to be
3
the
or
most
4 minutes. That's the last 2 minutes.
It's supposed to be the most exciting part of the game.
With
What
great
do they
teams
have?
it
They
is.
have 6 timeouts, fouling each other, walk from one down to the end down to the other, shoot foul shots, and foul the next one.
But it's strategy.
Yeah, strategy.
You could look at a football game as like a chess game when you're using something like Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
I didn't like pro football until I was out in California with Bill Walsh's 49ers teams.
Oh, I remember them.
Oh, man, they were great teams.
Jerry Rice.
Yeah. Montana, and then
Montana.
Steve Young took over.
Two in a row.
Yeah.
They had 2.
Well, I go out there for the Defense Language Institute. They've won 2, and then I come back 4 years later. They're winning another 2, and then they won one with Young.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
guess Montana was clutch, wasn't
But
it?
here you are in New England, the greatest quarterback in history and probably the greatest coach. Oh, jeez,
Could be.
it was something. Yes, my problems might have, that I'm having right now, might have been from that game. Clenching everything.
How many years in a row have they been in the AFC Championship game?
Not as many as the Atlanta Braves were in the, and which drove my father to distraction. He waits all his life,
Chipper Jones said, "Oh, we're the team of the decade." Yeah,
But yeah, they win
won
one.
one World
Oh,
Series.
that drove my old man crazy. He had to wait a lifetime for them to win that, and then every time they're going deep, and then it gets less deep each year.
The Yankees beat them twice in that decade,
Oh, and then finally-
96 and 99.
Oh, the Yankees are through. It's over. You have to accept that. That's why Joel Elber's gone missing. He won't come here, and bear witness. The evil empire's gone. Unless you're planning like a Putin-like comeback, but I don't see any Trumps taking over the Red Sox.
Yeah, the Yankees, as it stands right now, will not win this year. The Red Sox will repeat. As far as
Are you willing
Panic.
to bet money on that?
at this point, yes.
It can be cyber currency. We do take cyber currency here, folks.
Well, what if the Yankees pull off a monstrous trade and pick up two great
You mean
starters?
like the one that brought them Mr. 59 home runs?
Yeah, well, that was a
Who
free
was,
agent.
you were supposed to hit, like, what were they going to hit? 310 home runs? They did hit a expletive deleted load, though, didn't they?
Yeah, I didn't
But they
expect.
hit 250.
I didn't expect him to come back with 59.
Oh, Mr. Baseball, they were going to hit 400 home runs, according to you, when you were in your cups. I don't mean drinking, but, kind of like, what would it be, mental ambrosia?
Well, they set the record,
Yeah, well, that record
And with age-
keeps getting expanded, huh?
and with injuries.
I remember the Red Sox said it. What was it? Is it 77? The 248. Then the Brewers come a few years later,
Yeah.
and that's been long eclipsed.
Oh, I know.
Oh man, I got to build up my shoulders for my. Where's your orange jacket? I can finally button the thing again.
Mine's in my car.
Did you get it
No,
bonded?
I didn't get it stained. It was
Yeah,
stained.
look at this silk.
Oh,
Yeah, it's silk.
looks good.
I got it at a Marshalls.
Well, Marshalls?
Yeah. I always go into my coat. Anybody, and you expect there's going to be money in there, but there never is. Well, I look for many things in there. Keys,
Guy
phone.
hit me just as I was waiting at the door there. He said, "You got any change?" And I didn't. I said, "No, I don't."
We don't allow that.
I said, I just have credit cards." And he said, "There's an ATM over there. Like I'm going to go pull a 20 for him,
Well, welcome to the big city, right? We used to call them bums.
Yeah, they still.
But
do.
they used to be bums. When I went down to Boston University, there'd be guys out there. You could tell they had 3 pairs of pants on them because you could see through them and their,
Yeah.
which, and they were relatively harmless. Although some of them were crazy. I used to be down near Kenmore Square, which was a slum then. Boston University, bought the whole area. It was a student ghetto and Dominicans. And, we just lived in these rat-infested hellholes. Norwegian rats, jeez, size of like Maine Coon cats or something. And some kid had a pellet gun. Oh, man, naturally, I am an excellent shot. Country boy. Everybody thinks New Hampshire. This is where I come from. Oh, he's from the country, New Hampshire, because they come up here skiing. What monstrous rats. You're sitting there after smoking something, and this big cat-like rat's peeking out at you. But those were the days. But there were bums down there, and they could be aggressive. They'd come up and punch you and stuff.
Well, the police tell us don't feed them, don't give them money.
No, you shouldn't. I have a compassion for them, but
You don't know who needs it and who doesn't.
well, there is a guy. I think Paul was talking about it on the morning show, that there's some guy that's like a professional that goes around. And indeed, I call it because he had been touched. I had been touched by the same guy. He goes around. Now, I'm an old homeless veteran. And then if you wait long enough, here comes a car, some nice car, picks him up. and hauls him off.
Time
He has this.
Time to come home, dear. How
Walker.
much do you make?
And see, I was told that. I give the guy $1, and then sure enough, I'm sitting in the bar.
Throws his walker in the trunk.
It's true. And Paul was talking about, I think you were talking about Matt's show or the morning show, and I call it. I got burned by the guy too, and I see him every now and then.
Yeah,
It's like somebody's taking him around.
out in California, my wife and I go on dinner one night, and this guy walks up to my window at a gas station. He's, I need $3.42. My wife's going to have a baby in Riverside. This is in L.A.
That's not.
Dumb me, I give him a $5. And then I'm thinking,
Surprised
how
you
did
didn't-
he know it was $3.42 for a bus ride to Riverside? Came out after dinner. There he was, still
To Riverside.
panhandling in the gas station.
That's quite a haul.
You know, you have a good heart. Yeah.
Yeah, but in L.A., like my friend Jocelyn was on the show several years ago. She lives in L.A. She got carjacked. They'll stick, I would never have a window open. After living in New York, they used to have the aggressive, they'd come and squirt your window and then grease it up.
Oh, yeah.
And if you didn't give them the money, one woman I know, this is in New York City, got her throat grabbed. Jocelyn, they got carjacked in Venice. Well, Venice always.
They did that to me in
place.
Boston. They just
You don't
Right.
open a window.
no, I didn't open it, and I kept
like-
telling them, no, I don't have any change, no, but they kept washing my window, and I just waved.
It's like you never give anybody the time. That's a way to get.
They get you at a stop sign or a red light. I mean, oh God.
When I was in San Francisco, man, oh Jesus, there was all sorts of scams. These young girls would come up and pat you on the behind, like they're coming on to you for. And I'm talking about kids, like it's like. But I know, somebody's there to take your wallet, or she's trying to get your wallet. I don't want to tell the stories about Dylan and the Mission, what that was like.
Oh,
I should have my friend
I
Tom
think
tell
we've
a
all
story.
lived it. And, if you have a good heart, you're just going to give it to a bum once in a while, and it's going to happen.
But what's a good heart? They're going to be aggressive. They're much more aggressive
Because you
now.
just don't say no. Like,
know about what?
I've learned to say no.
Well, it depends. Like when I was in San Francisco, you'd see a real old bum.
Yeah.
And I don't give anything to young people. Then some of them are, well, we won't get into that.
Yeah. We could write a book on it. At any rate.
Well, homelessness was here. It started exploding in 2014. Although they got politicians here with very short memories
Yeah.
that are going to try to politicize that.
Well, last Tuesday night when we did the show, I left. You went to the right. I went to the left. And I looked down. There were a few people laying out on the sidewalk
Oh,
in
yeah.
their blankets there.
Yeah,
Last Tuesday.
Carol Robideau on Manchester Inklink has written about them. And Tim Baines, the alderman from 3, witnessed a real aggressive episode.
Oh, has it?
Down where you're talking. I know where
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah, I know Tim very well.
Yeah, they telling the cops off and this and that.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said about that, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
No.
I don't know what we're here to talk about because I forgot to bring all the stuff for the baseball show. Well, I did bring something,
we can
but it
still
wasn't the
talk.
stuff for the baseball
Still
show.
talk baseball.
Well, if it was late night, we could talk about that stuff. But I need
Matters-
Matt Connerton here.
Matters stand right this minute. I would pick the Red Sox to repeat. That's very hard for me to say, as you know.
It's baseball, though. Anything can happen.
Well, of course it can happen. I've seen it happen.
Some young kid could come up a real stud, and just
I
start
remember.
hammering away.
I remember Bobby Thompson's home run as if it were yesterday.
Was he a rookie?
No,
We're talking about some young stud.
Well, it doesn't matter, young stud.
We're talking about somebody can come up and change a team. Well, they can in any
Jim
sport,
Palmer.
right?
He was 20 years old, the youngest pitcher to ever throw a complete game shutout in the World Series, and I was there at the second game of the '66 series. And
But he
we've
was
talked
on
about
it.
this before. Koufax's very last game he ever pitched, and he lost 6-zip.
And Jim went on to the Hall of Fame because of the high strike.
That's exactly right. He threw a high fastball. It was
Oh,
called.
would go right. He'd throw it, keep
it
coming
rose.
off.
Yeah, he was a heck of a pitcher.
Not many strikeouts, but 3 Cy Youngs. Because nobody would give a Nolan Ryan the Cy Young in those. Because
No.
he 383 strikeouts breaks the record.
Yeah, I listened to that game.
And but he walks 200 people, for the season.
The only thing wrong with that game, but nobody will ever know it. I happen to be listening to it. I lived in L.A.
This is when Nolan Ryan
He went
broke
2 or 3
Sandy
extra
Koufax.
innings. He was totally out of gas, but he had to get that one more strikeout, and as soon as he got it, they took him out. But it was 383, broke Koufax's record of 382.
Yeah.
And if
Well, Koufax should have got 384.
he had 360, he wouldn't have pitched extra innings.
And Mr. Baseball, how many people get up to 382? Only 2 people. I guess you could go back. Maybe was there anything? Did anybody ever strike out anybody more than that in the olden days, like 1880s?
No.
You sure?
Well, you're talking before the turn of the century, of that century.
Before 1893 is really when modern baseball begins.
Well,
There were some weird old records back then.
Old Hoss Radbourne might have done it.
Old Hoss was only 5'8". As who wrote Ball 4? Jim Bouton said.
Jim Bouton. Yeah.
Old Hoss, my keister. He was just a pony. He was a young stud that came up with the Yankees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Won 20 games with Ford in '63.
He's only once won 20?
I think once or twice, and he held out for doggone nearly 2 or 3 weeks of spring training before he got his raise, and Ralph Houck just let him have it. But he got his raise. They just didn't pay them in those days.
Well, what is unique about Jim Bouton and his career?
His hat came off all the time.
What could very few people say that he can say when it comes to teams?
Oh, he pitched for a lot of them.
No. One of the few people that have ever been on the Seattle Pilots.
Oh, yeah, he was on the Pilots
As a knuckleballer.
Yeah.
Which didn't work out very well for him.
No, he pitched for Atlanta.
Yeah.
He didn't do that well.
Phil Niekro, I remember him with Atlanta. We've already talked about all that.
Well, of
I
course.
can't believe you won't talked about Tom Brady.
I don't know him.
You've been here, and Tom Brady's been. Is there anybody out there that wants to talk about Tom Brady?
I've never. I don't even know where he went to college.
They've taken another win away from old Hoss Radbourne. Now they're
did.
saying he's got 58.
Oh my goodness!
I'm
He's got to
I'm
turn
ready
over
to
in his
revolt.
grave.
Which I on one show we had his picture of his grave. Remember? Old Hoss.
Radbourne.
So
58 victories in a year. Well, the modern day record is 41 by Jack Chesbro of the Yankees in 1904. And in that 1904 season, the Red Sox and Yankees came down to the last game of the season. Whoever won the game won the pennant. And guess who threw a wild pitch? Jack Chesbro. The winning run scored. But there was no World Series because the Giants refused to play the inferior American League, even though they had won the year before.
Well, we know why that. We talked about it last week because John McGraw almost got lynched when they burned down Huntington Field. What would be the Boston Braves fans, and they tried to get him too. They burned down the whole neighborhood. Those were lusty fans.
Oh,
Those Irish, a lot of Irish people.
Yeah.
Donnybrooks, because as we were talking about, around 1900, Irish were considered like natural athletes. Like when I was raised, blacks are just natural athletes. Well, they used to say the same thing about the mix. There wasn't much else they were allowed to do. Boxing, baseball. My phone's slow. They call it single season strikeout rate, modern. So I bet somebody struck out over 400. Probably Tim Keefe or somebody.
somebody like that.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Those were the days, huh, Mr. Baseball?
They pitched every day.
1884, stuff like that.
They pitched every day.
They pitched. Old Hoss took over. They used to have like 2 pitchers for the whole season, but he took over the entire season. That's when he won the 60 games, which they're cheating him out of.
It only took 4 games in the first World Series to create a 3-game winner. And that was the Pittsburgh Pirates there, Deacon Felipe. He won 3 out of the first 4 games.
What are you talking about?
He was a 3-game winner in the first 4 World Series games ever played. Then he went on to lose 2. Cy Young, who lost the first World
The Red
Series game,
Sox won
2.
the first.
Bill Dineen won 3. The Red Sox won the series 5-3. It was one of the 5 out of 9 series. There were 4 World Series, 5 out of 9. 1903, the Red Sox were down 3-1. They came back to win the series 5-3 because they overworked Dineen. I mean, not Dineen, Deacon Felipe. He was 3-2, the only pitcher in World Series history with 5 decisions, not counting saves.
Why do you think it took so long for Walter Johnson's strikeout record of about 3,500 strikeouts to be broken? And then it was just like, it's not even the top 10. Was it Gaylord Perry that broke it?
I don't know.
Or was it Tom Seaver?
Could have been Seaver.
Seaver used to strike out 200 some odd every season.
If it were Perry, it was because he had pitched so long. Seaver could have done it in a shorter amount of time.
But then suddenly, everybody's getting 3,000 strikeouts.
Yeah, well, Carlson actually passed Ryan
4,000. Yeah, 4,000
at one time, and he said, "I'll win this thing. I'll end up with the most," and he didn't even come close.
So what is the strikeout record, Mr. Baseball?
Well, it's by Ryan.
You're Mr. Baseball. No, we're not. He doesn't even come close.
Oh, you're going way back to the
How many 500?
to the caveman years.
How many 500 strikeout in a seasons have there been? How many?
Fred Flintstone.
And you come on my show and call yourself Mr. Baseball. No wonder why we had to get rid of the Mr. Baseball show.
Yeah, no wonder I got sick.
How many?
I have no clue because I don't even recognize.
Have you ever heard of Matt Kilroy?
Actually, I haven't.
You've never heard of Matt? He's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, I'm sure there's some in the Hall of Fame I haven't.
513 strikeouts.
Yeah, how many?
But how would you like to be Toad Ramsey? 499.
How many innings did they pitch?
Mr. Baseball, he struck out 500. The only 500.
Well, he probably pitched 650 innings.
Let's see how many. He pitched. How many innings do you think he pitched?
600 something.
You're wrong.
700 something.
No, nobody's ever. I don't think anybody's ever pitched that. Jesus, he was just a rookie. He was 20 years old with Baltimore. He went 29-34, 68 games. 68 games started, 66 complete games, 583 strikeouts. He led the league in 513 strikeouts, and he led the league with 218 earned runs.
How many innings?
476 hits he gave up. The next year he gave up 585 hits, but he went 46-19. And then he goes off, into mediocrity. I guess he didn't make the Hall of Fame.
But he won 28 games and lost 34?
29-34.
Good gravy.
Oh, Mr. Baseball, come on. That's when baseball was baseball.
Well, of course.
You could throw underhanded then.
Yeah.
That was the famous Babe Ruth. Some guy came up to him and... is that when they pitched underhand?
When the Detroit Tigers held out, refused to play...
the Baltimore Orioles?
I think it was the Philadelphia Athletics. And because Ty Cobb was set down. So the Athletics got not a farm team, but a sandlot team to fill in.
Oh, yeah.
And they scored 3 runs. Do you think a sandlot team would score 3 runs today?
Yeah, maybe.
No.
It depends.
Maybe in 100 games, one guy might get lucky and time a fastball, hit it, brag about it for the rest of his life.
I don't know, Mr. Baseball, you're being cynical tonight.
Well, I'm being honest.
There's a lot of, what's his name who won the MVP for the Giants back? Jeez, I can't even remember. Kevin Mitchell used to go play a sandlot ball.
Yeah, he had that great 60.
He hit 47 dingers. Was that the year that he went to the? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 69.
89.
'89, yeah, and then the next year they lost to the Reds.
In those days, the Giants lost to
The Giants,
the Athletics.
The Athletics, 4 straight.
That was the
Yeah,
game,
89.
the earthquake. I had
Yeah.
tickets to Game 5.
That's when they overpitched. The guy that went to Montreal. He was with the Dodgers. Can't think of his name.
It's hot in here, isn't it?
It's warm, yeah.
We should have had a beer or something before this.
You want one?
Do you have any?
No, I don't.
I just don't feel snappy tonight.
I might stop at Billy's and have one on the way home.
Are you supposed to?
I'm not supposed to do anything anymore.
Neither am I. I'm not supposed to shovel,
And I'm
drink alcoholic beverages.
I'm 78 years old. I'm not going to worry about it.
I think you should. Don't you want to get to 80?
If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I won't know.
I figure I've almost made it to 60. You make it to 60 if it's on your gravestone, which there won't be one. You can say that. It's when you go see somebody died like in their 40s or 50s, say, oh, what a poor schmuck.
Yeah.
But if you made it to 60, at least you've seen a few things.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't been completely shortchanged.
I've already lost one nephew and 2 nieces.
Were they in their 60s?
No, 40s. One was 39.
Well, we don't want to go morbid.
No.
If we wanted to do that, we'd talk about Manchester politics.
Oh, for goodness. So I can't wait for the baseball season. It's only
I can't. What about the Super Bowl? You're not going to watch that?
No.
What do you talk about when they come into the North End Bistro? You don't talk about the football, American football?
Some do. I don't work nights anymore. They cut me out of nights, so
Been nipping at the bar.
I'm not going to plug them anymore.
Why not?
Well, why should I?
You had their shirt on last time. Aren't they still
I
employing you?
came from there to here. I went to work this morning, and I got to the bank, which is right next door. I made my deposit and everything. I got to call the heats off in the restaurant, so they're not opening for lunch. So I went home.
So you're feeling rebellious towards them?
Not rebellious. I wouldn't put it that way. No, I love the place. It's the greatest food in town. I can honestly say that. But
The North End Bistro.
all I ask for is one night. That's all I want. I've got a bunch of people chomping at the bit, waiting to come in and stump me.
Should we create some type of social media movement?
No.
Why not?
I'm actually thinking of full retirement on my next birthday in May. Pull the plug on everything.
Why?
Just tired. It's hard to do things.
Hard to keep up with football,
I
obviously.
can't steal bases anymore.
Yeah.
Can't pinch run.
Never heard of Matt Kilroy.
No.
I was probably thinking of Kilroy, like Kilroy was here from the World War II.
I remember George Blanda. He played till he was 1,000,000 years old.
Kind of like Tom Brady. But he was in his late 40s. When did he get to 48?
He was kicking field goals at 48.
For Oakland.
Oakland, yeah. Yeah, I remember him well. And he was a quarterback. And they'd fall behind.
I
He'd come in
remember
and
as a
rally
kid.
the team.
Yeah. That was a different brand of football, though. Everything changes.
Oh, of course it does. It does.
Everything changes.
I remember when Unitas was the toast of the town.
Johnny
As
Unitas,
a quarterback.
Baltimore.
Yeah. At any rate, as I said, the first exhibition game in baseball a month from yesterday. So
You're not going to even be watching the Super Bowl. How long have you lived in New England? You used to live in Bar Harbor,
yeah,
but that was before professional
I-
football.
don't know when I'll tell you when I gave up football. I was at a USC-UCLA game,
Yes.
and it was I think it was scoreless going into the fourth quarter. Late in the fourth quarter, and I'm
Yes.
rooting for USC because my daughter went there and actually graduated with Marcus Allen. And some freshman on the USC team intercepted a pass, ran in for a touchdown, and that was the whole game. And I'm thinking, even though we won, I'm still frustrated. It was a mistake. He scored on a mistake.
And no World Series was ever won on a mistake, like 1985.
85.
What, a bad call by an umpire?
Well, you mean on the Royals runner? Yeah, that was a bad call. They blew it, but...
What about Ed Armbruster? Of course, that was Game 3 of the 75 World Series.
Yeah, Armbruster.
Yeah. You know...
he interfered with...
Earl, the great manager of the Baltimore Orioles.
3-run home run, Earl?
He kicked his TV in because he hated Larry Barnett. Earl Weaver always hated him. Said he kicked his TV.
I think he hated life.
No, I know people that knew him when I was down at NSA. They said he's a nice guy. All he was interested was gardening.
I don't doubt that.
What did one of the umpires call him? Baseball son of Sam after the Geller. Well, he was only like 5'7" or 5'8", so he's very aggressive. So was Billy.
Yeah.
Bill, how tall was Billy? 5'8"? 5'9"?
Yeah, 5'9"-ish.
You're a spark plug, right?
Oh, he was. Yeah.
Earl never even got out of the minor leagues.
No, he never did. Not until he managed.
Oh, isn't that something? No wonder why I haven't been in trouble. I had all of my Facebook posts just to myself. Whew, no wonder. That's a good thing,
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we're not getting any calls today from that crazy guy.
No, what do you call it?
Yeah, he's on line 1 ready for you.
Oh.
Just called in just now.
How come he's not there?
He's there.
What?
Ed, is that you?
Yes, I'm here. I called in a minute early.
We ran out of gas here talking about baseball, and Mr. Baseball doesn't like football or Tom Brady. So,
I don't dislike
I'm
Brady. I don't know.
Brady.
What'd you say, Ed? I know you're from New York and, New
No,
Jersey.
But, yeah, I grew up with you, but down where I am, everybody was rooting for. They're all bummed that none of the New York or Philly teams are in. So hell with it. I'm rooting for Brady all the way.
That's right. He is the greatest quarterback ever, no matter what Joel Albers says.
Ever. They can't be denied. You can love him or hate him. You can't deny what he is. He is truly the greatest quarterback ever in the history of the game.
Better than Y.A. Tittle?
What?
Who is he?
All right, Ed, this is Ed Young. Why don't you introduce yourself, Ed, and not try to take 5 minutes doing it like the last time, because we only got like 15 minutes.
Tell me when.
Right now.
This is Edward X. Young. I'm a horror film actor and a film critic. Used to live in New Hampshire and Manchester. Now I live in the New York City metro area.
Uh-huh.
Okay. That was succinct.
Yep.
You were going
to keep it brief.
You were going to talk about we were just talking about the Hall of Fame, but I guess when you used to live out near Keene and wrote for the Keene Sentinel, you used to write about the Academy Awards, which is there anything you have to say about the Academy Awards tonight?
For 10 years, I wrote about the Academy Awards in the Keene Sentinel, and I'm glad I don't anymore, because I've actually gotten sick of the Academy Awards. I'm fed up with them. I mean, I've watched them every year since the mid '60s when I was a little kid with my parents, and I've reviewed them for various publications for a period of about 20 years. But now they have nothing to do with art anymore. I mean, it's gotten ridiculous. Now it's the politically correct, all-inclusive, affirmative action Academy Awards. I'm fed up with them. I might not watch this year.
This isn't when I talked to you. This wasn't what you were supposed to talk about.
Well, you wanted my opinion.
Not about the Oscars themselves, you knucklehead. You were going to talk about who got nominated and stuff. Not from your Trump land.
I'm looking over the nominations right now, which were announced earlier today.
No, you can't swear and none of that stuff on my show.
It could have been a great and fascinating Academy Awards if they respected art. They had nominated, as is deserved, John Huston, Orson Welles' Lost movie starring John Huston, which surfaced this year, and Peter Bogdanovich finished the editing, The Other Side of the Wind, which was a visionary work by Wells, lost for like almost 4 decades.
Well, it hasn't been lost. It was just in legal limbo.
It would have been incredibly fascinating if Orson Welles, 34 years after his death, was nominated for Best Director, and John Huston, in the only leading role he ever had in a movie, and he's spectacular, playing an Orson Welles character as a director on his way out, on the last day of his life. John Huston absolutely deserved the Best Actor Oscar for this, and it would have been rather fascinating to see posthumous awards this late. And even if they didn't want to go that far, the editing is magnificent, and Peter Bogdanovich and the editor, they deserved an award for putting this lost masterpiece together.
Well,
to capture Wells' vision.
First off, I didn't expect this either. First off, Peter Bogdanovich is one of the nastiest people I've ever met. And secondly, I think the movie stinks from what I've seen. And I've seen clips of it for like the last 30 years. But what about nowadays? 2019, Ed. 2018. Come into the present.
I'm not satisfied with these nominations. What the hell? I mean, look, Spike Lee. Spike Lee is going to win the Black Klansman. Spike Lee is the darling of the left because he's black and he's radical and he's leftist and he hates everything about America. I would give him credit if he made great movies. I don't think he's ever made a great film. He scarcely is above mediocre.
What about Do the Right Thing? That's a great movie.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Propaganda. The only movie he made which I think approaches excellence is The Inside Man. That was almost at a Hitchcockian level, but still not as good as Alfred Hitchcock. But The Inside Man.
We ought to have him calling Joe Lavasse's show, a Rich Girard show. Although they don't like movies or anything.
But what is this new thing where, like, let's nominate every movie that was made in Hollywood for Best Picture?
What does that mean?
Five nominations per category. I can't even count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What, 9, 10 movies are nominated for Best Picture? I guess every major movie that gets released. This is a new way. Everybody gets an award. A participation trophy. Let's give 10 movies nominations for Best Picture.
Well, you don't get the Oscar by being nominated, knucklehead. I have Shelley Duvall's Emmy nomination certificate on my wall. I won't tell you how I got it.
But look what happened a few years ago. They got upset because that one year there wasn't enough representation of minorities and women across the board.
I thought you were going to talk about the movies, Ed. I didn't think you were going to go into Trump land.
I'll talk about the movies. Let's see who's nominated here. Let's see who's nominated.
I think we're going to have to cut him off again. What are you taking? I have the grumpy hat on. I think he's taking grumpy dust.
Okay. Willem Dafoe was magnificent as Vincent Van Gogh in At Eternity's Gate.
No,
it's the definitive.
Ed,
I was always a big fan of the Kirk Douglas version, Lust for Life. But Dafoe has captured Van Gogh.
Ed, that's right.
He belongs to him now. When you talk about Vincent Van Gogh movies, it's Dafoe, and also I've met Dafoe numerous times.
Okay, Ed, I told you none of the personal stuff that you go off on.
Okay.
We've only got one
opinion,
thing.
I really want to see him. That is a great movie, and why isn't it nominated for Best Picture? Why
I don't
is it
know.
not? It's not.
Do you have a vote? Are you in the Academy?
No, I'm not. My daughter is.
No, I'm not.
So your daughter's part of the Academy.
I have friends who are, and I'm gonna take it to task that I didn't try to nominate Orson Welles. That would have been fascinating.
Fascinating. Yeah.
Let's see who else we got here. I could totally go with Dafoe.
That's kind of a. You should have a rap song. Go with Dafoe.
Let's see. Well, who else have we got? Best Supporting Actor. I'm not thrilled with a lot of these. I'm not really thrilled.
I don't even know who anybody is anymore.
But the only category of race is.
Did Clint Eastwood get nominated?
Sam.
What do you like? You're a film critic too.
Did Clint Eastwood get nominated?
What are you glomming on to?
I don't write about movies anymore. Did Clint Eastwood get nominated?
No, he did not. I don't see one single nomination for The Mule. And The Mule was, I saw it on Christmas Day. And The Mule, like I said, truly impressed me that at the age of 89, he can produce, direct, and
88.
co-write and star in a powerhouse movie. Here's one thing I totally agree with. Best animated feature, they better give it to The Incredibles 2. I think it's one of the greatest animated features ever made. I totally love
We could
The
walk
Incredibles
out and
2.
just leave.
Brad Bird is a genius, and it's a true family film because you don't even have to bring a kid with you. An adult can enjoy watching this alone.
Can a Trump supporter?
Like really sexy, man. I mean, she's like. Just
Oh, you're into
cartoonophilia.
cartoonophilia.
It's a fun movie. I would totally endorse The Incredibles Part 2.
Now, do you believe that The Incredibles is a film that a Trump supporter and the family can go to and feel that they aren't insulted by these left-wing Hollywood types?
No. It's a truly fun movie. It's a fun, innocent, exciting adventure animated film.
It makes America great again.
Animated?
Yeah. He's in love. Hey, have you seen any of the new Sharon Tate movies?
No, I haven't seen them yet. I've only been reading about them. Although in
Are they out yet?
movie, which is being released in theaters in New Jersey on Sunday, we have Charles Manson in it. John Link plays Charles Manson in The Killer Clown Meets the Candyman, which is being released in a theater in Chatham, New Jersey on Sunday the 27th, a 7 o'clock premiere. If you could make it, it's free. I'll get you in.
Jesus, how am I supposed to get there? Hot air balloon? I'd have to have you here to heat up the balloon. Is this a movie that honest white Americans could?
It's my worst villain ever. It's really great.
Are there any movies out there that a good, honest, white nationalist, Trump-loving family would feel secure going to without being mugged by leftists or people of color?
White nationalist. Yeah, okay. Let's get political here. There's nothing white or national. I mean, really, At Eternity's Gate is one of the best biographies of an artist I've ever seen.
Who?
And it really
Say what?
I totally enjoy that picture. Looks like the only nomination it got was Best Actor for Defoe. I don't know why it didn't get a screenplay. Or the cinematography is gorgeous because they capture the landscapes to make them look like Van Gogh paintings. Why is it not? Is it even nominated for cinematography? I'm going down the list and checking.
Well, Ed, we've got to sign off now, and you're always welcome back. Hopefully, you'll be in a better mood and you'll have done more research.
You're ditching me, look. They just got to announce.
We're about to hang up. All right, Ed. We'll have you on. You should call in the radio show when you want huckstering people via your telephone. We'll talk to you later. Okay. Bye.
You're actually ditching me. All
right. You should have seen the last show he was on.
Well, he gets going, doesn't he?
I say, Ed, don't talk about yourself. Let's just talk about the movies or something. Oh, yeah, that's our Ed. Hey, if anybody's looking for a photographer, a wedding photographer, there's my friend Anna Madsen. I should have her on the show. She was on a show with me and Matt. She's a great singer, too. But she's an excellent photographer. She shoots in 35 millimeter. They use stock, Kodak stock, that 35 mil that was used for motion picture film because it was a wider range than what's available now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have the stuff. That must be on the
Yeah.
Try to get her on. You're always welcome to come back, and we used to do like a half hour or 20 minutes. So
yeah.
That's when I used to be able to get people to come in before I got sued.
Before you got sued.
And then after I got sued, it was just you and me.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I haven't been sued since.
Yeah.
Any last words about things, Mr. Baseball? Do you think it's safe for a good white Trump-loving family to go to baseball these days?
Oh, sure. Baseball's the greatest game.
Oh, yeah. And nobody really get much care. After 1947, they didn't care what you were, as long as you can, which it should be, as long as you can play.
Yeah.
And
that's the last year of Bert Schotten Schotten.
Well, we can go
48.
back on. We never touched on the 1952 World Series. That's got to be a record now.
Yeah, Yanks the Yankees in 7 games over the Dodgers.
Why don't you take it away or say goodbye to our audience today? Or
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Keep swinging. Cindy, pour me a beer. I'm heading to Billy's Sports Bar.
I could use a drink too, although they say I'm not.
I may bring a friend with me.
Take care, folks.
Take care.